Perfect. So, hi everyone in Facebook world. My name's Angie. I'm the program manager for the Business Center Guelph-Wellington. And today, for our Bridges program, we have Matt from 2H Media joining us to talk about Sprintpoint. I just, as preemptive for anybody who is watching live Facebook, YouTube at later points when I do get this on YouTube, if you have any questions or comments or things you would like to let us know or ask, please either add them into the comments. I will be monitoring the Facebook Live as we're going through. I will also, or you can email me later at angela@guelphbusiness.com. Either way, we will get back to you on anything that you have questions about. But for now, we'll jump right into the session. So Matt, I will let you take it from here.
Hello, Angie. It's nice to meet everyone. I definitely want to thank the Business Center Guelph-Wellington for putting on all the awesome events this month. And we have another one coming up as well. So it's a great busy month of October for business in general. My name is Matthew. I'm going to put a link to me in the chat. That's just where you can find me. That's where I hang out. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. But if you're interested in connecting with me, I normally will reply back and very, very quickly. But yes, that's me. Today we're going to be talking about some awesome business resources at Sprintpoint. I'm going to start off by just explaining very briefly how this came to be, and then we're going to actually dive into the resources. So I was one of the co-founders of a marketing agency in Guelph called 2H Media. Being that it was a marketing agency, we got to see behind the scenes of a ton of businesses, big and small. And we realized in a hurry that there was a need, there was a consistent need for essentially some planning tools, some strategy tools that should just be available for everyone. At the beginning of 2020, so right about the start of the pandemic, co-founder and I, his name is Aaron, he's not on the call today, we put together an entire website dedicated to free resources. So these are, and I'm going to show you that, and it's called Sprintpoint. The URL for this is in the chat. It's just sprintpoint.ca. Great. I'm going to take everyone through that now. So great. Here we are. I'm pretty sure you're seeing my screen now. Sprintpoint, sweet.
Yep, you're good.
It is a Shopify store. So yes, you have to buy these things. The cost of these things is $0, but we send all of the resources to your email address. So essentially I just need an email. I'm going to walk you through the 4 most common resources found on the platform today. But there's more than 50 of these things. So like you do have to do a little bit of searching to actually find what you're looking for. The 4 biggest resources, the top resources, are actually found on the homepage. They are a user persona, the business model canvas, a customer journey map. And because Black Friday, Cyber Monday is right around the corner, that one is kind of springing into action as well. I should say, if you do have a question at any time about anything, or if you're not understanding something, or if I'm going too fast, I would love it if you could just message me in the chat. I've got that open. Just message everyone, so like no PMs, please. But yeah, I'll repeat your question. Great, but there's going to be lots of time at the end of this too, if you've got specific questions about your business that you want to take offline or not on stream. So really straightforward. I definitely want to make this as relevant to your business as possible. These are all designed to be completely customized by you. So like, great. Whenever you start working with a new service provider, they know next to nothing about you. We don't like making assumptions. We use these resources in our business every day. So if we're putting together an advertising project, if we're actually doing planning, if we're putting together something for another business, we use the same tools we tell others to use too. So these are the same tools a marketing agency will use. And we just wanted to open source them. So right off the hop, I'm going to get into the user persona. Here it is. If I go back, it's $0. You just add it to cart, download it, give me your email. It automatically gets sent to you. It's a PDF. It comes to you as a PDF. It's fairly straightforward. We normally recommend just printing them off, but if you're comfortable using a PDF editor, it's like Adobe, or Foxit or something like that. You can absolutely edit them yourself. The user persona is probably the most common document we use. We do a ton of advertising at 2H Media. So one of the biggest things that we actually need to capture from you is who are we advertising to? So like, who is your customer? That changes from time to time, especially if you've got a seasonal business. If you're selling product in the spring, and then maybe there's a summer hiatus, and then now you're selling a different product to a different customer in the fall, is really, really important. The user persona just allows you to essentially capture that person's unique wants and needs, who they are, fairly simply. So yes, this document is a little bit more basic. It doesn't require a ton of strategy to put together. It's a communication tool. It's tell me about your audience. If I was to try to get them to do something online, I need to know where they hang out, where they spend their time, who they are, age, all the demographic info, all the geographic info, what they like doing, where they spend their time. So very quickly going through it, we would normally create a realistic but fake name for this person. So we're trying to embody all of their characteristics into like one persona. But so let's give them a name, who just a very descriptor, so we can all, like, normally we'll have multiple personas running at the same time. You'll have multiple customers that are all interested in your product or service. So whether they're a homeowner or maybe they're a landlord and they own multiple properties, they're going to be in different customer segments. But we'll give them a small descriptor. A quote is normally pretty good. Like a quote, this is normally where someone's like, hey, I care more about price than speed, or I really want something made in Canada as opposed to buying something from overseas, or what kind of values they have. So the quote is like, yeah, I really care about the things that the clothing that my children wear. I want that to be like ethically sourced or farmed, or something like that. We definitely want to capture a little bit about what they think of things. Who is it? Age, location, job, title, marital status, a whole bunch of things. So they drive a red minivan. You'd be surprised how narrow the advertising targeting can get. But this really does work for anything. So any kind of marketing, whether it's social media, if it's paid or if it's organic, it's who are we talking to? Very, very important. What are their goals? So not what is your product trying to solve? It's what are their goals? We should be very specific in this category. So goals would be like, I'm looking for an alternative to doing the same thing over and over and over. Maybe I'm looking to save time. Maybe I'm looking to save money. Maybe I'm looking to have it delivered more reliably. Maybe I'm looking to lower my carbon footprint. Whatever their goals are, needs to be very, very clear. And if they've got a couple of goals, that's okay. We can't do all things to all people. That would be crazy. So we definitely want to get a little bit more specific here. Their attitude to buying the product. I hate paying for insurance, but I know if I ever need it, I will really be glad to have it. So my attitude is, no one likes paying insurance, but my attitude towards insurance is as such. So like, is this something that is a fun purchase? Is this something that they look forward to? Is it just kind of remedial and mundane? Yes. I've never been happy to go put gas in my car, but when I get back in my car and I've got a full tank of gas, I'm pretty happy about it. So like, definitely the attitude is very important. And then what are their expectations? So like, what are their expectations with getting a product or service? And that, it really depends on if it's a service or a product that comes with a service. Maybe it's like, hey, I'm buying a shed from you and it also comes with installation. There's a product and a service component. What are their expectations? Am I going to get training on how to use the thing? Are you going to assemble it for me? Are you going to deliver it? Whole bunch. And then behavior, like how are they going to use it, to their trends? Are they heavy internet users? Are they the type of people that will leave a review? Tell me a little bit more about them. We can get more value than just money from a customer. There's lots and lots of things. So are they going to be able to talk to their friends about a purchase they made? Are they a fast or slow decision maker? What's the timeline looking like? Is this an emotional purchase? Are they giving it to someone else? What are their common attributes? So I will never move forward with a company before understanding who their audience is. And normally we're going to have at least 3 user personas. 3. You're going to have like at minimum, like there's no perfect company that only has one customer. That would be ridiculous. So we're going to have different customer segments. We're going to have at least 3 user personas of like the casual user, the user every day, the heavy user, and then maybe like the gift giver. Very, very important to know who those people are, because we're going to use different tactics in order to actually appeal to them. Every business should have one of these. The bigger companies have like thousands of these. Right? Some people just buy iPhone just because of the camera. They could care less about everything else. They just want the camera, or they just want it to fit in with all of their other ecosystem, or they just like it because it's the latest technology, or they like it just because of the design. Like, so with you and your business, you're going to have to define who your biggest audience segments are, who your biggest customer demographics are, and define them. And if you don't know who you're selling to, I really wouldn't move forward with too much more before you figure out who the customer is. You should know your customer as best as possible. Some things you might not have nailed down pat, but this is a good starting point. So like if you had a small sales team, or if you had someone working the front desk, we definitely want them to understand what our customers value, what they're trying to accomplish, what they really don't, what we can shy away from. And that's going to help not only you as an owner, but like help manage a small team as well. Really, really straightforward document. You probably don't need to refresh these too often. So like I would look at them maybe every 12 months, like how much of this has changed. Maybe I've introduced some new service offerings or products and my demographics are changing. People in general age every day. I know I do. Every day I'm a day older. My opinions change. World events change what I believe, all kinds of things. So this will change from time to time. So you can't set it and forget it, but you also don't need to look at this every minute, like waking minute of the day, to make sure you have it right. So definitely take a look at that. And again, completely available for you to get anytime you want. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to go back to the homepage. Let's get to the next one. The business model canvas. This is going to be something that most of you will probably end up getting sick of. It's probably the best tool, especially if you are owning a business with a co-founder or a small leadership team, to keep everyone on the same page. This is initially designed to be printed off on a 11 by 17. When the business center, when COVID is like far behind us and we start doing in-person events again, we really ramp that up. We're going to make sure that the business center has some of these printed resources at the center, so that if you ever want to go and have a meeting with someone face to face, that you've kind of got one of these available to you. You can always print them off. Like, I mean, save the planet, save a tree. If you can do it digitally, that would be sweet. But sometimes it's much easier to plan and do that with a piece of paper, old school. I personally like to use sticky notes with this document. I'll put this on the wall and I'll put sticky notes in all of the categories. And that way, when I change something, I don't have to like scribble it out and rewrite it. I just slap another sticky note on top of it, or pull the old one down and put a new one up. There are 9 specific sections here, and it is general because this is going to encompass all different business models. But every single business, regardless of if you're a service, if you're B2B, if you're product, if you're a mix of both, if you're doing something in software, you are going to have to fill these sections out. I'm going to go through each section very quickly so that you'll actually see it. What we have tried to do is give you some prompts in each section in terms of how to fill this out correctly, and then some additional resources underneath that, so you can go, okay, I can take this to the next level. I know that the business center, and this is a big shout out to Angie and their team, if you have questions about a document like this, that's where the business center will step in. And if you were to take this to them, they will help you refine this and work with you one-on-one to make sure that all of your questions do get answered. They've got tons of additional resources too, and community partners that they can introduce you to. So if you're looking for something specifically with like HR, or if you're looking for something with accounting, obviously that is not us, but they've got a great network, especially in the city of Guelph and Wellington County, that will actually help you do this. If you're falling short on one of these things, or just need a little bit of support or a lot of support. So very quickly, key partners, like who are the key partners? Yeah, you probably need internet to run your business. If you are a retail store, you probably need a POS. You're probably going to have some things in your store that are required for you to run. So all those key partners need to be listed here. There's a reason for that. I need to evaluate those key partners often? Am I getting a good rate on my cell phone? Am I getting a good rate on our credit card machines? Am I getting good value for my money? Are they providing me things in return? These are the things these are like the utilities. This is to keep everything in track. Everything track, like, okay, great. Do I need something else in my business that is fundamental to running? Is that Uline, buying cardboard boxes? Am I getting a good price? Are they good to me? Are they bad to me? What's going on? I need to list those partners down here. If I don't measure it, I cannot optimize it. So I definitely want you to write some stuff in here in terms of, am I getting good value for my money? It's fundamental to running my business. Can I say that so I'm just bleeding margin if I'm not? So the key partner is really, really important. A key partner, a lawyer, an accountant, a bookkeeper, all of the things that maybe will be providing a service as well. So like I need those to run my business, to make sure I'm in compliance with all the things. Maybe there's a regulatory body you apply to, or that you have to be on board with if you're a healthcare provider or something in finance. Really, really important. The key activities, what must you do to make your business run? So like, great, there's some categories. Problem solving, am I dedicating time to business development? Is there a platform that I need to maintain? Is there production numbers I need to hit? Is there a small, like, again, I mean, we're a small business too. Are you running something out of your basement or a garage? Is there something there that I need to actually have happen? What are the key activities? How much time do you spend doing them? Does it help with revenue, or is it specifically there for something else? Very, very important to know. These key activities are normally the first things that you can actually have an employee take over. So great, you're going to be doing packaging, or you're going to be doing customer support, or you're going to be doing our social media, or X and Y, but it must be done. They're key. They cannot stop because they're fundamental to the business. The resources. So these would be like the key resources would be actual things, actual goods. Maybe I'm importing something. Do I actually need a distribution channel? The resource there might be, I physically need warehouse space in the EU to house my product for my European market. Or maybe I need to have an intellectual copyright on some of my product. So that's a resource I can't let expire. There's going to be a few things in this category. It depends. There's not tons of key resources if I'm like a plumber and I own a plumbing company. There's really not. Obviously, insurance would be one. I need something there. The revenue streams, maybe I've got a city contract. The key resources are a little bit different for every business, but they should be important. If you have no key resources, there's something wrong. You should have something. It might even be the hiring. One of my key resources is getting good talent out of the local college. Great. Your value proposition. It's if you haven't noticed, the sections are larger or smaller based on how much attention you should be giving them to at an early stage. So your value proposition is like, why would someone buy with you in the first place? It shouldn't just be because we're cheaper. Really hard to compete if all I've got is a cheaper product. It's very, very difficult to do that. How does the product or service solve your problem? Am I more available than the big guy? Do I have better customer service? Do we have better labor? Is it Canadian made? What is it? I definitely need you to list that. Is it new? Again, there's a whole bunch of characteristics there that you should utilize. So is it more accessible? Is it ethically manufactured? Lower carbon footprint? There's tons. And then my next question is, how are you communicating those values? There's a lot of things that are buried. If we actually were to print these off into the business center, they'll be actually printed on recycled paper. So like, great, we can feel good about that. So the goal there is what are they? How visible are they? How are you actually explaining them? Again, if I was coming in under our marketing under 2H, I'd be asking you all the same things. What makes your product good? And I will put on my customer hat and I will play completely stupid and I will not take anything for granted. And if you do a terrible job explaining it to me, there's probably an issue with why your sales aren't where they should be. So big time communication piece on number 4. Number 5, customer relations. Great. Are you communicating with people through email, or is it phone and text? Are we getting good reviews? What's the cost of a good review, the bad review? How are you actually managing it? Are you available to pick up the phone when they call? There's a whole bunch that fits in here. Are we at capacity already? What are those channels? What are those? Like 5 and 6 kind of fit in? How good is the customer service and what channel are they actually reaching out to you on? So for social media, are you available for a quick message? There's 5 phases in the channels. I'm kind of bleeding these 2 things together. Awareness, evaluation, purchase, delivery, and after sales or post-purchase. It's how are you actually doing all of those 5 things? How are you becoming more aware? How are you, the customers evaluating you against your competition? During the purchase phase, are you available to ask for questions? What does that delivery of the service or product look like? The package come all dinged up and banged up, and does it look good? Does it look bad? And then are you following up with people? Is there education? Is there things that you can do beyond that? There's a lot of people get this right. I know that if I was to go downstairs to my furnace, which I don't look at very often, if I need help with my furnace, the furnace guy has a sticker right on my furnace that says, if there's trouble, call the number, and it's his number, and it says 24 hours, and it's yada, 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 and the warranty information is right there. It's like, and if the furnace guy can get it right, I guarantee your business can get it right. But like, again, that's where the information is. And I know that when at 2 in the morning, when it doesn't work, when I fire it up for the first time this year, that's the number I'm going to call. I'm not going to call someone else. I'm going to call that one. Great. And he's going to keep my business. Cool. So you have to think about that for yourself as well. The customer segments, we just kind of got done talking about the user personas. So like your user persona should be here. Like we have a full document that's specifically about section 7. That's who are they? How do they work? You should have user personas in this section 7, and maybe they just refers to them, but there's definitely a place for all of that. Cost structure, so the bottom is money. The bottom half is money, your costs, so like what costs you money and how are you generating money? So very, very simple. I'd be writing down labor, software expenses, rent, utilities, everything. Everything goes in here because guess what? As a business, we get to write all of it off or most of it. Refer to your bookkeeper and your accountant. Don't refer to me, but you definitely need to at least know how much things cost for you to plan. And I need to know where the money's actually coming back into my business. So where am I selling from? There's a couple of quick questions here. I've got types of revenue coming back in. Is it fixed pricing? Is it dynamic pricing? Is it recurring? Is it one time? What are the payment methods people are paying with? How often do they take to pay? What's the turnaround time? I need to know all that, again, for planning. It really does make sense if I was to relate this to an advertising situation. Again, I would need to know average order value. I would need to know profit margins. I would need to know what your competition are charging for to actually put together a plan. I'm going to need to know a bunch about the product and the finances to do a good job with it. So I would rather you put it down here. What are your normal discounts? What are your margins? What are you running for Black Friday? Is it something that, is it really common for the things in your industry to go on sale? Or does nothing, I've never seen an iPhone on sale. iPhone says there's a sale. They're never under $1,000. There's never a deep discount on an iPhone. And that's true of all things. So this is a lot longer of a document. It's something that you should revise way more often than your user personas. You don't need to revise the whole thing, but there's some things that it will change. If I'm changing a service provider or a material, or we're breaking into a new revenue stream, I should be recording that, especially if there's multiple people in the leadership or there's a board. They all need to be on these pages. No one should be out of alignment on any of these things. The last thing we should be doing is having questions about our value proposition. Everyone should be in alignment. So the way that we do that is to write it down. Everyone gets a say, and what we agree on goes. Great. So there's a little bit of democracy that happens with this document, but these all should be facts. These aren't like, hey, these aren't revenue projections. These are like what is happening. Cool. I know I'm flying through this. If you have questions, let me know. Back to home again. Customer segments is next, or the journey, sorry. The journey is normally where things go sideways. The journey is something that as a marketing agency, we kind of take for granted. Most people don't know, and that's going to be a real problem. This document is broken down left to right. They have to start at the left in order to move forward. There is nobody that starts off here and goes the other way. It all starts left to right. There are 5 stages, regardless of what company you are in: awareness, consideration, intent, delivery, and advocacy. Great. So fairly straightforward. I need to be aware of you in order to do all the other things. If I don't know you exist, you're impossible to consider. I can't buy from you. I will never get your service, and I can't become an advocate. So how am I becoming aware? Each one of these things, each one of the, on my y-axis here, you'll have specific things that you can do in each one of these categories. So great, my activities and my awareness. Do I have a YouTube channel? Am I posting regularly? Are we making people more aware of the things we do? Your social media should be in here. Your paid advertising should be in here. If you've got a storefront, how much walking traffic do I have? How many days a week am I open? What am I doing to increase my awareness? The customer goals obviously need to match the awareness. If your customers never go on social media, they don't use social media to find products or services like yours, I don't need to worry about my awareness in that channel because my customers aren't there. Their goal is not to go through my Pinterest to find a plumber. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if their goals don't make sense with the activities you're doing in this column, you'll have to change. What are the touch points like in the awareness column? I'm going to take a few examples here. I'm not going to go through every single box here because I'd be here for a while. The touch points, what are we doing? Are we actually active on this stuff? Like, is there specific things like, great, in the store, if you've got a store retail location, great, I can answer your questions. There's probably going to be a little like sandwich board outside that lists the features of the day. If you're a restaurant, that's going to be a touch point. I can attract people with that. I'm going to make you more aware. And then what does that experience look like? Is it good? Is it bad? Should it be better? Is it already amazing? You're going to be all over the map. Most people fail, and I am going to explain these 3 boxes underneath the service delivery because they are different. Most people fail at this last box. KPIs, like, is there something we can measure? Are we getting better? Are there more people becoming aware of our business every day? Are my hits to my website going up? Are they trending upwards? Is the time on page going up? Page views, things like that. And then if I was going to try to improve one of these things, I was like, what can we do to improve them? Like an action plan. What is available? What can I do? And that's going to be different for everyone. I'm going to skip forward a little bit to this. So service delivery is broken down into 3 sections. It's not true for every business that has 3, but every business has this last one. And this last one is your post-purchase follow-up. So after the customer has purchased, they've had a chance to use your product or service, what do you do to keep them engaged? The really easy one is like, do you ask for a review? Do you send them, if I was to buy a really nice dress shirt from your company, do you send me the cleaning instructions? Have you followed up with me and maybe the dress shirt was a wedding? Do you send me an email thanking me for my business and asking me how the wedding was? Is there something that you could send me for a coupon for a next purchase or refer a friend? There's a whole bunch of value in the post-purchase that normally gets missed because it's easier to sell to a customer that's already been a customer than finding a brand new one altogether. I would rather have a smaller, more loyal customer base than a really, really big infrequent one. One of them is really easy to manage and one is really fun to work with, and the other one's frankly a pain in the butt. So what can I do in that post-purchase category? That works for every business. It's the same thing as the furnace company again. Do they call me to remind me that I should change my air filter before turning on my air conditioning in the spring? Do they help me actually understand how to use my appliances better? Do they let me know that there's a sale on if I'm interested in a new thermostat? What can I actually do there based on the conversation that I've had during the delivery of the service or product? Lots of opportunity there. The goal for this, that post-purchase normally leads into someone being like a really, really big fan of your business. Will they end up following us on social media? Will they interact with us? Will they remind their friends to go and shop with me instead of someone else? Can I build word of mouth marketing on that? My goal is to do that because what happens at the end of this, it's going to cycle back into more people becoming aware and the process continues. So this is really, really important and normally missed There's a little bit of strategy that goes with this, but it's a lot of common sense. It's, are we doing the things that we can be doing? And that's going to be different for every business, but we should write them down. And I know that we're not all perfect business owners because things get missed, but what percentage of them get missed and how frequently and how bad were they missed is going to be up for us to actually measure. And most of us leave a lot of money on the table. I'm not perfect at it. Do I remind every single person to leave a review after they've had a great experience? No, because I'm a human being, but should I? Probably should. So if I can get to 85%, great. Any questions about this? Let me know. This is something where a document like this is designed for an 8.5 by 11. But if I could turn this into a whole whiteboard, I would, because like this is like the part of the operations of the business. If I could just lay that out, I mean, steal the idea, put it on your whiteboard, write it out, make sure that your employees are doing it, make sure you're doing it, track it. Again, we're probably in the middle here where they're like, eh, they're both like, eh. We could be, we want to get it up to that we're actually making good value on it. The KPIs are different across the board depending on what industry you're in. Way easier to get a review as a restaurant than it is to get as a plumber. But the plumber is still going to value the reviews the same. So there's lots and lots of things here to keep into account, but those KPIs should be specific to your industry. The action plan should be specific to your industry as well. Cool. Last one. I think we're doing okay for time. Is the Black Friday Cyber Monday canvas. So this is going to be similar to the other one. And I'm really only talking about this because Black Friday BFCM is next month, which is like a massive selling time for most small businesses. And we are into like the first two stages. So like every business should be doing these. The big guys will be doing this. The small guys, if you've never run a BFCM sale, this is kind of a quick sheet for you. It's going to walk you through all of the things with a little bit of a timeline for you to prepare the best. I'm going to go through again each one of these categories really briefly. We're going to need to figure out some kind of marketing strategy for what you're going to do. Are you going to, what date is the sale going to start on for you? Are we going to do it like a week before? Are we just going to do it the day of? Is it what's going to happen? Is there a budget? If there's no money budget, there should be a time budget. If you have no money, you should have time. So that's fine. Are we doing something that's a promotion? Are we running a discount? Are we doing something? Is it like a free X buy Y? What is it? Doesn't need to be anything in particular, but it's something that will need to be communicated later on. Where does it exist? Is it an in-store experience only? Is it only online? Is it only people that follow us on social media? The really, really good one. You must follow us to get the thing. Kind of forces them to do it. Do I need picture content, landing pages, a whole bunch of stuff? You need to determine what is actually going on for the sale. You as a business, again, based on your industry and your turnaround times for product and service and what your current capacity is, 1 month prior, again, but this should be based on your industry. If it's going to take you 90 days to land product in country, this should say 90 days ago. But yes, you're going to have to go through all of these things. So do I have my website ready? Do I have the pages built? Do I understand what I'm trying to do? Has it been communicated with the team? Do we want to let some people, I normally do not want to do too much promotion in this because I want people to buy at full value now, then hold on to their money and wait a month to get the deal at the end of the month because I'm just bleeding margin. I'd rather you buy twice. Are we doing things with email marketing? Inventory, do I have inventory ready or is it going to go to pre-order? You should have that all figured out. It's going to get more and more intense as you get closer and closer. So 2 weeks, 1 week, there's different things to do. Section 5 is kind of relax a little and just let it happen. We're not going to take any big projects on the week of Black Friday. It's like, no, you're done. It's kind of just put out the fires. So you're not putting any more on. This space is really leave as much room open in your schedule as possible to do the things that just come up. And I would just record the biggest things that happen during that time so they don't get repeated next year. So like it's like out of the frying pan into the fire in this section. Right before the planning. During, again, it's going to be all hands on deck, hopefully for you. I would do some things. I would remind people like an email at that during that day. Normally you're ramping up the communication because there's just gonna be so much of it. So like lots and lots and lots. So like if you have like one social media post planned for that day, so does every other business. So like you're gonna post and then it's just gonna get swamped by a million other things. So you're gonna have to do a little bit more to get attention. And there's lots of follow-up. Shipping, just be honest, like, hey, great, be prepared for the increased volume. Maybe it's gonna be late. Make sure people understand that they're gonna get it either before Christmas or after Christmas. Be really transparent. Normally that gets done through SMS or email marketing now. If it's an in-store shopping experience, I would really, really try to get someone's email because we do want to have a better sense of communication with them. But there's a lot here and it's very, very specific to the business, but this is like normally a very, very popular document this time of year that most people don't really have a way to structure this time of year because it is kind of chaotic. We've tried to put the normal things that we see down so that you can actually follow it. So we've been running a workshop specifically on this one. It's available. That workshop's actually available through Shopify. It's on the 1st of November. If you don't mind, Andy, I'm actually gonna link that one. Because if you are looking for specific support for your BFCM, you don't need to be on Shopify to do this. And it is completely free. I'll put that in the chat as well. You can sign up for it and we kind of take you through absolutely everything. The big thing here is if you record it, you stash it away, you bring it out next year and you can really figure out what worked and what didn't work from year to year because it's kind of hard to remember 365 days ago. But yes, there's another specific workshop dedicated to BFCM coming up through Shopify as well. Cool. This is 1 hour, right, Angie? We have like 17 minutes left. Enough time.
Yeah, we have a few minutes. So yeah, we can. I don't have any questions on the Facebook chats. So if the people in the room want to either stick around for a few minutes, we can go off recording and ask some questions. For those of you who are watching this through Facebook or YouTube, do check out sprintpoint.ca. I believe it was.
It is.
Yeah, sprintpoint.ca. I did put the link in the chats for Facebook, and I will add that onto the YouTube channel as well.
Right on.
It is a resource we use often. It is local, Guelph-based, Ontario-based, so we really like supporting local. And we use a lot of these resources with the business center, with businesses that are going through. So do take a time to go through and if you're on the site, go down the free resources and sort through. There's about 45, I think, products it says on there right now. I think I have used about 15 of them on a regular that I share, depending on the workshops we run. So there's constantly new ones being put up that I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I download it and try that one for a little while. So do try them all out. So anybody who's here in the Zoom room, please stick around for a few minutes. To those of you who are watching live on Facebook, please check out our upcoming next series because this is a whole month of stuff. So tomorrow we have gaining confidence in your food business financials. And then I also have tonight for anybody, we have tonight and one later on in the month information for this. It's a Spark info session. So if you are in a business that's interested in doing something focused on tourism, you could be a restaurant, you could be a tourist related location or business, traveling, biking, you name it, an event. Please connect with us for that program. That is a pitch competition that will be coming up in November with funding and having a bunch of mentorship and stuff connected with it. We do that in partnership with the Tourism Guelph, RTO4, and the Tourism Innovation Center. I got all the names right. So if you're interested about more information about the Spark program, that's tonight. We have a free seminar on that as well. So we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Like I said before, those in the Zoom room, please stick around for a few seconds. And thank you again for Matt for joining us. Bye, guys.